When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
Hi, I'm Stu Baca, and I'm a Gen X grown-up, and I support Gen X GrownUp on Patreon, and you should too at patreon.com/GenXGrownUp.
GenXGrownUp is a YouTube channel, website, and audio podcast you're listening to right now. All made for and by people who love exploring media, games, tech, and toys of yesterday and today through the eyes of Gen Xers who refuse to grow up.
Your dinner cannot just be French fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
Welcome back, GenXGrownUp podcast listeners, to this episode 189 of the GenXGrownUp podcast. I am John. Joining me, as always, of course, is George. Hey, man.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Wouldn't be a show without Mo. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
In this episode, we hit the theaters for a film about the accidental death of a mythical horned steed, revisit a popular data storage solution to help keep all your digital properties safe, and press start on a gorgeous new arcade cabinet evolved from an Atari classic. We're going to have those topics and many more coming your way a little later in this episode. But first, it is time for the fourth listener email segment of the show. Look, the three of us are here. We may listen. If anyone else does, you are, in fact, our fourth listener. And the fourth listener this time around, longtime listener, fan of the show, Patreon supporter, Kat, dropped us a line.
Hey, Kat.
About a recent backtrack. Subject line of her email was, long distance oops. Okay. Here's what she has to say. Listening to the Gen X Phone Fun episode. All right, it makes sense. Okay. And wow, when you guys talked about someone racking up a huge long-distance phone bill, all I could think of was my sister. After our dad got sick and tired of sharing the house phone with us and got us our own line, she called a boy in New York from our home in New Jersey. And apparently lost track of time, or more likely, never kept track in the first place. She racked up a $650 phone bill. Wow. And this had to be 80s, 90s, something, yeah. I'm guessing. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of money now for a phone bill, but I think. Man. And wow, was our dad understandably pissed. Oh, she did the math. Look at this. She says, I looked it up, and the 2025 equivalent is just over $2,000.
Oh, my God.
She says, I don't recall how it got resolved, but knowing my dad, not only did my sister get hollered at, but so did somebody at the phone company.
How did you allow my daughter to make those calls?
How dare you allow the phone? Yeah.
It's just funny how long distance just doesn't exist anymore. Like area codes don't matter. It's just kind of funny.
Not for that purpose, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It kind of faded. Like it went away with landlines, and then it was kind of a thing like roaming, right? With if we were in your area, it wasn't who you were calling, is more we were in your right area, and then after a while that even faded away.
Yeah.
But
it's all bits and bytes as flowing through. It's like
it's all data. Nobody cares anymore. Kat, I'm sorry for your, I'm sure your sisters deserve punishment. And thank you, though, for writing in, letting us know about the story that we helped spur in your memory. Fourth listener, if you would like your email featured here on the show, like you did with Kat, it is drop dead easy. Just hit us up at podcast@genxgrownup.com. We read every single one. And most of them, like Kat's, will eventually make the show. All right, time to jump into the body of episode 189 right after this very quick break.
As a small business owner, my favorite thing about posting a job on LinkedIn is that when I hit post, I clock out and LinkedIn clocks in.
LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, get qualified candidates, and manage them all in one place. Plus, LinkedIn extends the reach of your job post by allowing you to share it with your network. And hiring managers that add a hiring frame to their LinkedIn profiles receive 2 times more qualified applicants. Go to linkedin.com/achieve to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Gen X Grown Up. But if you have a friend who's not yet listening, why not? Tell them about us. They'll thank you later.
And all across the Kingdom of Oats, mothers planted oatmeal cookie seeds.
Cookie seeds?
Mm-hmm. And the ones they planted on the sunny side of the hill came up crisp and golden and tasting of caramel.
Mother's cookies. Always fresh. Always delicious.
And the ones that came up on the shady side were touched by the morning frost. And that's why some have frosting and some don't.
Come on, Mom.
Oh, really? I mean it.
Nobody cares like mothers.
It will come as no surprise. We're going to get the ball rolling here at the top of the show, talking about media that we have been enjoying. Now, it could be a film or television or music or books or comics or whatever you have been enjoying in that realm. And George, I want to start with you because just like Mo and I, you're talking about something that we have all at one point looked forward to in previous episodes. What have you been up to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to something that I'm looking forward to enjoying, but not looking forward to, I guess, what will happen at the end, and that's Bosch Season 3, which is the final season of Bosch Legacy, which has been the series that's run only on Amazon Prime. I don't remember if the first one did any network air or any other streaming. It might have just been Amazon as well. But either way, this is theoretically the last season of this Bosch series. This is the second one. It still focuses on the main character. There are a lot of interesting changes and developments, and through the first 4 or 5 episodes, they still have not revealed the character that will carry on the spinoff after this Bosch series that will be in the same universe. I imagine we're going to get that character coming in pretty soon, though, based on some plot points and story points that have just recently happened. There have been some horrific events in the series so far. Some people have been killed. Honey Chandler, who is one of the main characters that is a prominent defense attorney in all the previous seasons of Bosch, she's tangled with Bosch on one side when he was a cop, and then she's hired him when he retired as a cop and he became her investigator for a lot of cases. Well, now she is running for district attorney. So now she's flipping over to the prosecutorial side of the fence. Bosch's daughter is still a LAPD cop and is involved in her own cases after the horrific events of last year, where she was kidnapped by a serial murderer rapist guy and buried in the desert, and Bosch had to save her last second and everything. Yeah, just a crazy carry through from last season that they're continuing the high stakes so far this season.
You mentioned they haven't said how or what there's going to be a spinoff, but you clearly know there is a spinoff. Do you know anything at all about it other than it's going to happen? Or
yeah, I mean, so the main character, she's another LA police detective. She works in the robbery homicide division. That's going to come into play in a case that Bosch is dealing with in this series, and that's how they're going to introduce her. And she is a not unlike Bosch type of character, bit younger, obviously female, as you've heard me use the pronoun a few times. And from all intents and purposes, people who have read the Michael Connelly Bosch series like the character. So I think that's why they're trying to move forward with this one, because I think they're trying to switch things up a little bit. I personally don't think you need to. I could have done the same thing with Bosch and was hoping that they're doing with Reacher, which is give me a book, do a season on that book, and then move on to the next book, the next season, or another book or whatever. I like how Reacher has been very successful with that framework, that model for their series, because these writers who write these kinds of stories, like Michael Connelly, they're prolific. There's probably 10 or 15 Bosch novels out there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
There's also the Lincoln Lawyer stuff with that character. He's got another 10 or so of that character.
Is it the same author?
It's the same. Michael Connelly is the same guy who writes both. That's why they share the same universe.
Oh, okay.
And that's why this may not be the last time we see this actor playing Bosch, because he very well may end up in the Lincoln Lawyer series over on Netflix.
Okay. Interesting.
It's got a lot of good twists so far. It's just every time I watch an episode or every time I see a new one pop into my Plex server, I'm like, I don't really want to watch.
No,
because it's the last one, and it's the same thing that we've talked about many a times, John, with your Firefly, having not watched the last episode or two because you always want that out there.
Stubborn dumbass that I am, I know.
Yeah. It's, you get to a point where you don't want to let go of the thing, but I think what I'm finding, at least with watching this, is that I'm just going to go ahead and watch them as they happen, because they don't dump them all at once. They're every other week, and sometimes there's 2 in a week, that kind of thing. But it's not like I'm not going to go back and rewatch these again. I rewatch Castle probably once a year. I rewatch Firefly 2 or 3 times a year. I rewatch Battlestar Galactica a couple of times a year. If I'm going to do that, I might as well just go ahead and enjoy it now, and because I'm going to go back to it anyway. So I don't see the harm in watching the whole thing. It's a little sad, just a small little part of sadness, because of, it's going to be the last episodes as they happen.
The last new episode. Yeah. You'll still have it to enjoy, but it won't be fresh. The next time you watch it, it'll be a different show kind of, because you know what's coming.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, there are some things like my son and I just started rewatching Dark Matter, the old sci-fi series from a while back.
Yeah, I love that show.
I watched the first episode with him, and I was like, oh, I kind of remember what that character did. But
you forgot some of it?
You don't remember it until you see it on the screen, and then it clicks. But until it does, it is a little bit fresh, a little bit new.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good.
All right, cool.
That's the benefit of being old. You can forget shit that you used to know and enjoy it twice. Again.
So, John, you mentioned a minute ago that each one of us had something from our looking forward to segment in the list. What is your looking forward to item for media today?
Well, it's Q1, coming up on Easter time for a horror movie, of course.
Yeah,
so I was looking forward to The Woman in the Yard. Now, this is a Blumhouse production. I kind of think of Blumhouse as like this, the less crazy cousin of A24. A24 does the really crazy ones. Blumhouse kind of does the straightforward horror movies, and typically very good. So I was looking forward to this one. The premise, as much as they show you really in the trailer, is that there's a young family. Apparently the father has recently passed away in a car accident, and they're living their life. And then one morning they look out through the front window, and there's this woman in a black shroud seated in the front yard in a chair, and she won't go away. And they try to talk to her and deal with her. And that's all they really tell you in the trailer. And so, like so many horror movies, I'm going to go see it. I'm going to go check it out. I went with my daughter to see it to get her opinion of it. So have either of you checked this film out yet? Are you interested enough, or did you make it?
Oh, yeah. I saw it.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
You did. All right. So 1 out of 2. George didn't. Mo did. So what can I say about this film?
That sigh says so much.
I think it had a lot of great ideas. Well, I think it had some great ideas. I got the feeling there was one really clever guy in the writer's room. And he said, hey, guys, what if we do such and such? And the other people said, yeah, let's run with it. And it's like, wait, there's more detail. No, that's enough.
Right.
Every interesting thing they just kind of touched on. Like there are themes, as you might imagine, with having the father pass. There are themes of, well, does this supernatural woman in the yard, does she represent grief or death or sadness or forgiveness? You don't know, right? What is she? And so I think the smart guy in the room, like, let's call him Jimmy, young writer, he had this great idea. Hey, what if she represents this, some emotion? Great idea. And then they just didn't listen to what else he said. And then later they had this idea. Hey, what if her shadow, since she can't come in the house, what if her shadow could interact with things in the house? Great idea, Jimmy. And wait, there's more detail. No, that's enough. We're going to run with that. So things end up happening that don't really connect to one another or make great continuity or sense. It's a movie that has a little tool chest of interesting things, but they're muddied up by things that just don't make any sense or follow any kind of logic in the world. Decent performances. So really the movie is like 4 actors. There's the mother, the son, the daughter, and the woman in the yard. Now there's some flashbacks to some other people and stuff like that. But I would say I didn't recognize any of the talent in there. But of all the performances, the young man who played the son probably gave the most convincing, not acting like he's a guy in a movie actor. He's quite good in it. There are even some cool twists like, oh, what if there's this weird thing with a mirror and things are backwards? Great, Jimmy. That's all we need to hear. They don't have to explain it. It really, Mo, you're laughing. You know what I'm talking about.
It's totally know what you're talking about.
It's just full of ideas that didn't execute well. So what it ends up being is a movie that I regret seeing in the theater unnecessary. It's worth streaming, right? It's worth downloading. It's worth checking out.
Yeah.
It's not like that's the worst horror movie, anything like that. It was fine, but it felt like a movie that just didn't get a script rewrite, didn't get a second pass, didn't go back and let Jimmy expand on his ideas or whatever it was. It just kind of was okay.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said because it was a good movie. I mean, it was entertaining. Like it had moments that were very good. I thought the ideas were really good. But any movie that when you go home, the first thing you do is go on the internet and say, explain the ending of this movie to me. That's an issue. And here's the worst part. Online, there wasn't consensus either on what the ending meant. And not in a good sense. You know, some movie like, oh, it could be read either way, right? Like, oh, it could
like Inception or something.
Right,
no,
is the spinning top
going
to fall? Is it not going to fall? You know, that kind of thing, right? This was like people just didn't get it. Like the people who thought one thing totally skipped the whole scene at the end, like didn't even acknowledge it, you know. And then people who thought the other way just didn't acknowledge the rest of the movie. So I was like, okay, this is not even like even at the very end, I don't know. I guess it's hard to kind of do this kind of movie and not have it be just kind of like what you expect, right? Oh, it's a woman in black. It's going to be death. It's going to be this. It's going to be this. And to do that in a new creative way or something that's at least interesting. You know, I was hoping for something just different when the big reveal happened.
Yeah.
And instead I was like, no, okay. Yeah, it's kind of that tracks.
And then at the very end, they're like, let's throw one more little twist to make you think. Without any kind of preamble or setup. It wasn't like, the payoff. Now it makes sense. You're like, what? Huh? Where did that come from?
I was like, what?
It's just quite odd. So, yeah. Not a don't recommend it. Just don't recommend you look forward to it as a great horror movie and just go into it knowing it's pretty run of the mill with some cool ideas that just don't quite pay off.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Fair enough. All right. Now, to flesh out our 3 films that we were all looking forward to in previous episodes, Mo, what did you check out at the theater?
So I was looking forward to Death of a Unicorn. So saw the title. I was excited. Saw A24. I was like, uh-oh. Then I saw Paul Rudd was in. I was like, oh, I was excited again. You know, and Jenna Ortega. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes.
You know, great cast. And I saw the trailer for it and I was like, okay, I would say this movie, the critics, I know they panned on it a lot. And I think it's just they're being too, I don't know. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed going to it. I have no regrets about going to see it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And it starts off, you know, the basic premise you get from the trailer is that Paul Rudd and his daughter are driving up to some remote thing. They hit an animal in their car, you know, because dad's not paying attention. They go back and it's a unicorn and it's dying.
Is it legitimately really a unicorn?
It's legit. It is a legit unicorn.
So that's like a mystery. It's
right off the bat.
Established
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
got it. All right.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And not to give away too much, but eventually the herd that unicorn belongs, it was a baby unicorn too. It was a young unicorn.
Okay.
So the herd, or whatever you want to call it, wasn't too happy about the fact that this unicorn was hit by a car. And also the people he's going to see are part of some big pharma company. And they found out the unicorn horn could heal all these different things. So now they're trying to figure out how to harvest unicorns and all this crazy stuff. You know, the usual, I mean, pretty standard, but the actors they had in it were just so good. And it's just so entertaining. It was ridiculous, but in a funny way. The people are just over the top in a funny way as well. You know, there's the rich family that had this son who really doesn't understand what the hell is going on, but he's like the heir apparent anyway. Jenna Ortega, who's the only one who understands what's going on. You know, and they're trying to just, even the part where they're talking about, what is it? Like, is it a mutant? This? Is it this? Is it? Maybe it was some sort of, you know, lab experiment. And she's like, people, it's a freaking unicorn. you know, why are we not talking about this? So anyway, the unicorns come to get revenge, and that was to me the fun part. It was not scary at all. It was some suspense moments for sure. You know, a lot of you know, building up on that stuff. Some impalements, of course, because you got a unicorn. What do you expect? Yeah, what else do you think is going to happen, right?
I don't think you can have a unicorn movie without a unicorn impalement.
Exactly.
I mean,
you can't, right? You just can't. And they didn't make it look like a typical unicorn. It was a little more beast-like looking than like the pure unicorns that you probably see in like fantasy movie stuff. It looked more animalistic, I guess we call it.
Mhm.
So when they got scary, I wouldn't want this chasing after me. It was pretty freaking, I'm like, this is pretty good. I wish they would have done a little bit more comedy with Paul Rudd in this character, because they had such an amazing cast that could have like pulled off a lot more. I think added a little more humor to this than they did. But besides that, I said it was an enjoyable movie. I say go see it in the theater, especially if you have the AMC pass or anything like that. Definitely worth seeing. Especially, again, how often you get to see really cool unicorn impalements.
Yeah. Again, it's a requirement for the unicorn movies.
Yeah, pretty much.
So. Yeah. All right. So basically 3 decent things. And one of them is ending. So enjoy it while you can unless you can forget about it, I guess, and enjoy it again later. So, all right, stick around. We'll be right back.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
So good, so good, so good.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Fresh kicks, spring tops, new dresses. There's always a score.
I mean, the denim section is unreal.
Why do I rack? All the dresses.
I always find something amazing.
Head to your Nordstrom Rack store to find can't-miss deals on all the spring things. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Be sure to subscribe to or follow Gen X Grown Up wherever you listen. And while you're there, rate and review the show too. It helps more than you know.
KC Masterpiece is my homemade barbecue sauce. The sauce didn't come out of the laboratory, it came out of my kitchen. With good old trial and error and work in the kitchen, eventually I came up with what I really felt was a masterpiece. KC Masterpiece. This is one sauce that lives up to its name.
My favorite jeans, I wear them so much, they're hard to keep clean. Every time stains on my favorite jeans fall, Mama left them out with A-L-L, the stain left, that's all.
So I believe it was last episode, George, where you talked about a Lego kit that you got. And so that made me thinking about one I got for my birthday. So I'm going to kick us off with that, which was the Lego, again, for those people who are really into this, number 75379, which was the R2D2.
Yeah.
I got it for my birthday, so I'm not going to talk about how much it costs or anything. It's very cool. It's about 1,000 pieces or so, a little over. Yeah. And the R2D2 is a good 10 inches high when you build it.
No.
So it's a good size, too, when you get to it's done. I like that they didn't have too many specialty parts, which I always kind of admire when they could do that with like existing Lego parts already out there. And it was just a fun. Now, of course, I got so many freaking Lego things to build that, I just looked at it and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I added it to the stack of things I have to build. As a matter of fact, I just stacked them all up to see how many I have. And I got too many.
So you haven't built it yet? It's just
I have not built it yet.
Oh, it's pending. Okay.
It's pending, but it was cool because, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and just the attention to detail that they put into these things, especially the larger models like this, is just so cool. It just looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, 1,000 pieces is not like a huge, it's not going to take me like weeks to build it kind of thing. I think I'd probably do it in a night if I really want to do it. So again, looking forward to building it.
So not having actually built it, I was going to ask you, maybe from the box. I know George talked about, it was the Baby Yoda, right? You got, is that what you got? Yeah. He talked about the play features, like the things he unexpected, like how it could move its arms and stuff like that. Can you tell, are there any kind of rotating head or lights or beeping or play features that the R2 has?
Yeah. I mean, the head rotates. I know that much.
Okay. Normal.
You add an antenna to it. And I know the front leg, I think, comes off so you can stand it upright straight. Like, how sometimes R2D2 is straight upright versus leaning back.
Or is he leaning back or vertical kind of the guy? Yeah.
So, and then it comes with this weird new minifig, Darth Malik, who I'm not sure who that is, which I feel embarrassed. I don't know. I feel like I should know who that is. So I'm going to look it up right after the show. But yeah, so it comes with another minifig, which is minifig's always fun to have. So again, just super looking forward to building this thing.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. That's what I got. So how about you, John? What you got for us this week?
Yeah, so I have not a toy, purely tech. So admittedly, if you aren't in the market for microphones, this might not be of interest to you, but man, have I been through it trying to nail down a decent microphone of this type that I need. And so it's a very specific thing, and I've been through several. What I need is the ability to, when we go to events, to be able to record audio with my phone and have multiple microphones. So clip one on yourself and one on a guest, or clip one on me and one on Mo, or one on George and one on Mo, or whatever. So multiple people can talk and you can interview someone and speak, and you both have a microphone. And back when we were first doing this, it was like mid last year, I guess we started, and we got one from Amazon, and it was, I'm not going to give links to any of the bad ones I talk about here real quick, but I got one from Amazon and it sounded bad and I shipped it back. And then I bumped up the price a little and found the one that was decent. I used it for about 6 months and one of the microphones stopped charging. So I exchanged it, got the same one back, and I figured, it's just a glitch, it's just an anomaly. And then the same thing happened. One of the mics stopped working. And I'm like, and it happened right before I was about to head out to the Midwest Gaming Classic. And I knew I was going to need these mics. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I said, okay, it doesn't have to be awesome, but I went back on Amazon. I said, show me mics of this type, meaning USB-C, plug into my phone, 2 wireless mics, rechargeable, that you can deliver tomorrow, because I needed it the next day before I left. And I found one for like $10, $12 or something. I'm like, it won't be perfect. We'll give it a shot. Got those out there. They were horrible. What's the opposite of noise canceling? Like noise enhancing?
Noise adding.
Yeah.
Noise enhancement.
It was overmodulated. Everything was noisy. It sounded like shit. And I'm like, I literally stomped on them and threw them in the trash. I'm not even worth returning so now I was without. So I went shopping for yet. I said, here's the problem. I was trying to go cheap. I went, $20, $22, something like that. I'm like, let me move up to something a little bit better. So the one I'm going to talk about here, I cannot speak to its longevity because I've only had it for about a week, but I can speak to its quality and features. I bumped out of the $25 range. I'm like, okay, let's look for something like, I know you can get a Rode brand one for $200, but I don't want to go there. We need it just occasionally. Mm-hmm. So I said, let's make $50 the cap. And I found one that was normally $50, but it was marked down 20% to $40. And the brand name is not one. It's some, Chinese manufacturer that you won't know, but it is the same idea. So it is a pair of wireless microphones with a USB-C adapter that hooks into your phone. It also comes with a lightning adapter if you'd like to hook it into your iPhone, the one iPhone before the recent move to USB-C. But what has surprised me is the other features that this one have. I've already done the preliminary tests. The sound is much better than the garbage ones, probably better than the ones that worked before they stopped charging. This now has omnidirectional condenser mics. Oh. Plus it has the ability to do noise reduction if you want to turn that on. Okay. It has a button for mute. It has a little clip. They clip it on somebody, of course, or you slide the little clip off and it has a magnetic thing on the back. So you could just magnetically, is that like for surveillance? If there's a bug, I'm going to stick it under somebody's desk or something. I don't know. But maybe it's the idea is like you could put it like a magnet behind someone's shirt so they don't have to stick a pin or clip it on there. So it's a magnetic attachment. And in addition to that, something the other one didn't have, the receiver that plugs into your phone has a blue indicator that shows you if one is connected. A little blue light comes on. If it's connected and muted, it flashes to tell you you're not getting audio for it. And finally, the adapter that plugs in your phone has a pass-through USB-C. So you could still charge it in addition to having this thing plugged in. So it has a pass-through for it. Nice. And they advertise it for, it's for, video recording or interviews or podcasts or vlogs or YouTube. All the things that I potentially need it for is what they're marketed for. And the way I chose this was not specifically priced. I told you I'd try to keep it under 50, but I was looking for under 50, but I sorted by average reviews. Mm-hmm. And so this one was an average 4.5. And it was also there's a flag on Amazon. I can't speak exactly what it means, but it says Amazon Choice, which I guess probably means they want to sell it because they had maybe fewer returns or something is what I'm expecting when they say that, or maybe it's their margin. I don't know, but I'll give you a link mode to put in the description. It's even if you don't have a need for multiple mics, it's one of those things that certainly you have times when you need to speak and the microphone in your phone is okay, but it's not really a microphone for production that you're going to use to record and publish something. So this one has, it also has a little box that you charge and you drop the pieces in it. It charges the individual mics inside of it, the little contacts and all that. And interestingly, the microphones are little buttons. They're round, a little bigger than the size of a quarter. They're tiny little microphones, not even bars or anything. So They're quite cool. The dual wireless lav mics, and the first one so far that doesn't sound like crap, and it hasn't exploded on me yet, but remains to be seen. If that changes, I'll mention it here on the show if that one, goes tits up.
And so it comes with 2 mics?
That's right. Yep. 2 microphones. Okay. Yeah. Theoretically, you could use one with Android and use the other adapter and use one with an Apple, but it's designed for 2 of them to come in at the same time. That's the purpose for it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool. And
Yeah,
$50-ish.
Yeah, right. It's right now it's on sale for 40, but $50-ish. All right. Now, George, I was looking forward to hearing what you were going to talk about. You're going into something that Mo and I have been into for a little while, but I haven't touched it in a while other than just depending on it. And you're really getting into it now. What have you been checking out?
Yeah, I have spent a shit ton of money, and I'm using that word because I want to make sure we get our adult rating credentials for this episode.
No worries.
I spent about $2,500 for an Unraid NAS setup.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up with 8 terabyte drives, motherboard, processing unit. The only thing I didn't put in it was a graphics card because for my purposes, I don't think it's going to need it based on research and asking you some questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 32 gigs of RAM, a couple of M2 drives that are a terabyte each for the cache. I did all of that. Took me a little while to put it together. I've already decided that I really don't like the case that I bought. I think that's mainly because I got a case for like $80. It's serviceable, but I don't think, even though it's built for a NAS system, I don't think it's built well. Number one, the metal in it is very thin and flimsy. Number two, I don't like the organizational choices that they made with the case. Instead of each drive having its own bay, 2 drives are in one bay. I don't like that idea at all because it virtually means you have to unplug both if you're going to replace one and all this crap to get to the screws and everything.
Is it like in a little cage or something? Is that?
Yeah, it's in like its own little bay cage, but it's 2 of them in one. Airflow through the thing seems to be okay. They're running a little hot from what the system tells me, but that's been in my office here, which normally retains a lot of heat because I have a gaming PC in here anyway, and it's got an eastern-facing double window. All of that to be said, I spent $2,500 on something that I'm about 50% happy with right now. The other part is setting up Unraid, which in and of itself is super easy.
Right.
If all you need is a NAS with an array of drives to copy files to and from, it literally should take you no more than 15 minutes to set up the entire thing from start to finish. But just like everything else in the world, Unraid doesn't want to be just a NAS device. It wants to be a Swiss Army knife and let you host Dockers and applications and plugins and all this stuff so that you get, quote, more functionality out of your NAS. Well, that also attracted me because I'm like, great, I can move all my sonar, radar, all my Rs over to it in Docker form.
You did that. Okay.
I can move my Plex stuff over to it, and Plex can operate from there because, as I talked about a while back, I've had a couple of operating system crashes on this PC, and that would eliminate this PC from that equation. So if this PC had a problem, it wouldn't take away all my documents and movies and TV shows from everybody else in the house that might need them. Well, I've already run into some stuff on that end that are difficult at best to figure out, and that's where it concerns VPNs.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So VPNs apparently don't like to operate in their own Docker containers. They like to operate, or at least seemingly in this situation, they seem to operate as installation pieces of other Dockers. So there's a qubit torrent, which is what we use a lot of times to get our torrented files to and from wherever they need to go. Well, there's a qubit torrent Docker, and then there's a qubit torrent VPN Docker, which has the settings for VPN, and you configure them all inside there. You put in your username, your password, but what VPN you're supposed to use. However, it's very limited to which VPN clients you can use. So if you have any of the standards like a NordVPN, it's not in there. I use Proton for my system right now. Proton is kind of in there, but not in the way that makes it simple or easy to understand. You have to go through a bunch of hoops. I reached out to the forum for some help on the guy who created this particular Docker. And he's like, just look at question 31 of my FAQ document. I'm like, okay, if you got 31 questions on your FAQ document, your stuff's not intuitive, first of all. Second of all,
there's too many frequently asked questions.
Yeah. Second of all, there's the details that he goes into. It's so overwhelming for somebody who's new to the world of Docker, which I explicitly stated in my question when I asked. I'm like, I know virtually nothing about Docker. I've realized reading his response, that Q31, I realized I am far too fucking old to be in this game, but I've got no choice because I spent $2,500. So I'm a little sad about it at the moment. It is a steep learning curve from that point forward. Just setting up an array, just setting up a NAS takes nothing. It is very intuitive.
Yeah.
Everything on top of that, hold on to your butt cheeks because there's a lot to learn.
Yeah, just for the reasons you just kind of brought up is why I just left it as a NAS and just had I bought like a separate small PC. Yeah, I have a separate small PC that does all my R stuff that the VPN runs on it, no problem, all that stuff. But I just, because I went down that same road and I was like, yeah, I mean, you can put Sonar on it, fine. But then the VPN thing is like, how's that work?
It's even more than that, because what John and I discovered in some of our discussions, John having been the person who started with this, and that's what we do at GenXGrownUp. One of us goes looking for something and figures it out, and then the other two kind of glom on and ask questions.
Glom on your knowledge.
All right. So John was kind of the first one. So I went to him and asked him some questions. We discovered very quickly, I'm on version 7.0.1, which is the latest version of Unraid, but it just came out a few months ago and it's still very new, so new, in fact, that most of the tutorials online are for John's version of 6. whatever.
Not the one you have in need. Yeah.
And there are some drastic differences between these two things. Even though they visually look very similar, the back end, especially when it comes to the Docker containers, is very, very different. So, yeah, I'm having a time.
Oh, yeah. Interestingly, I'm kind of straddling the fence between you two, right? So I'm not strictly using it as just storage, but I'm also not whole cloth on it. Like you, Mo, I still have a separate PC doing some of the work, right? So I'm living in the middle. And the difference is, George, you are trying to make this do all the stuff that I really want it to do. So I'm kind of real interested in you figuring all this out so that you can help me get where I would like to be. And I just I got to that wall and kind of went, yeah, it's good enough. And it is good enough, but it could be better.
Yeah, I've got 2,500 points of motivation to help me keep going on this for a while longer, at least. So hopefully I'll figure some stuff out. If so, we'll probably post some stuff on the website or to talk about it in another podcast in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, and there is a learning curve to Unraid depending upon how far you want to take it.
Yeah, it is powerful. All right, we're rooting for you. We want you to succeed so you can help us.
Exactly.
So, thank you.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing, it's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
Each episode of Gen X Grown Up has show notes loaded with links where you can learn more about our topics. And there's even more to see and hear over at GenXGrownUp.com.
Poor Cinderella can't go to the ball. She's dressed in a droopy diaper that feels all wet. Abracadabra, Cinderella. Kleenex Huggies Super Trim Diapers will sweep you off your feet. Only Huggies has the blue inner layer that helps funnel wetness into the padding and holds it away for unbeatable dryness, plus a softly padded waistband. Ah, Cinderella's wearing Huggies now, and she's having a ball. Huggies, happily ever after.
This is the main event of the podcast. For the 3 in attendance locally and the millions listening around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time!
All right, time to get undepressed, start talking about happy stuff, and if that means we're going to talk about games, all 3 of us have something to talk about. Mo,
yeah,
let's start with you. You're going to talk about a game that you've played about 1 billion fucking times at this point on every version there is. So
yeah, I think an embarrassingly large percentage of my life has been spent on this franchise. I think about it. It's the Assassin's Creed, and the newest one is Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Okay,
and I've been playing it for about a week now. And the good thing is that it is true to the franchise, which is a good part.
Right.
It has all the fun parts that you expect. They've actually improved a lot of things that were kind of a little clunky previously. Like each iteration seems to get, for the most part, get better. They had a couple setbacks, but generally speaking.
Okay.
It takes place in Japan, which is cool. Feudal Japan, which is awesome. The only difference is that they have 2 characters that you play, and you actually can switch off between the 2.
All right.
One character is a very traditional Assassin's Creed kind of character. You spend most time sneaking around. You kill people quietly. You steal stuff. No one knows you're there. You leave. The other one is the exact opposite. It's a tank. This guy, matter of fact, this character can't even really hide very well. But he can walk in the middle of a group of people and kick some ass, which is fun unto itself.
Okay. And take damage, I'm expecting?
Oh,
Probably?
he can take a ton of damage too,
Yeah,
but
all right.
he doles it out too. And plus, he's the one that can use a whole variety of weapons and all this stuff. Where your other character is limited I say limited, but you make the one character has 4, he has 8 different ones that he could use.
Okay.
And they're all from an extra long katana to bows and everything else. And gun even has a rifle because this is during the time when rifles are just being introduced into Japan. The only criticism I have about it is that, Assassin's Creed has always been fairly story rich. They focus a lot on this main story point that you're trying to get through.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm paying attention, but there are definitely times I feel like my character knows more than I do. Because I'm doing something and I'm like, why am I doing this again? And I do it, and then the character's like, "Oh, I'm glad we did this because we saved this village." And blah blah blah. I'm like, "Wait, whoa! Did I miss that entire reasoning part somewhere, or did I not read it carefully enough? Was the dog bothering me when that cutscene happened or something?" Because I think they just tried to make sure that the story was so, again, they tried to make sure it was such a good story that there's a whole bunch of plot points, and I'm starting to lose track actually of what I'm actually supposed to be doing because everything looks important. There's some things that are definitely side quests, and the other ones that you knew they were side quests, right? You knew that you could skip it and it'd be fine, but it's really hard to tell in this game what's important to do and what's not. So you wind up trying to do all of it, which it makes the game seem a lot more overwhelming than the other ones, just because it's just so
you're
much.
Afraid, if I don't do this one thing, I'm going to be screwed. Yeah, I'm going to miss something. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, the game itself I've had very, very few bugs. I mean, I got it day one, and it's they very solid workmanship on this one. Very small. They had one issue, but they fixed it the next day. Literally the next day, a patch came out and fixed it. So all in all, a fun game. If you're a fan, you're gonna play. I don't have to say anything. I know you're gonna play it anyway, but you won't feel bad when you do. I'll say that much.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the shadows? Where does that come into play?
Because your main character is the shadow kind of assassin, you're also fighting. There's all these.
Okay, the stealthy. I got you.
Yeah, stealthy, and there's also a bunch of organizations that are all kind of vying for power. You learn about them very slowly, and they're all trying to work behind the scenes.
Maybe it's because your one character lives in the shadows and the other one casts a big shadow.
A huge, yeah. The other character is huge. He's a huge.
That would be. That's a great game, right? A big giant guy and then a second guy that walks along with him but hides underneath his shadow or something so nobody can see him. That's a new game.
I'll play that.
We just got our first GenXGrownUp game creation.
It's better than Twin Cop. Twin Cop 2.
An evolution. Big cop, little cop.
So that's been playing. How about you, George? What have you been playing lately?
Yeah, I'm playing something that comes from our friends over at Finite Reflection Studios, Kartik, Kenny over there, and they always put out great content that we love. Twin Cop, of course, where we first got introduced, and Gardner and the Wild Vines that they've done.
Yeah, that was great.
This new game, it's not new. It's been out for a long time in demo form, but then last November, they finally released the full version of it, and I just missed it because of all the stuff that's going on. But it's Void Souls, and this is the one that they debuted like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I seem to remember this
SFGE, and it was based on like just one of those sessions where they go for like a weekend and have like 48 hours to create a game from scratch.
Game jams or something.
Game jam type of thing. Yeah. So it's very, very simple in its design, but it's also very fun and engaging and beautiful. You're essentially just a damn triangle roaming around in this maze that is only visible in your line of sight. So where you can see is all you can see, and you can't see the rest of it until you go around a corner, and then that line opens up, and it's almost like a flashlight showing on the map. And it's a very simple dungeon top-down view of a map. There's not a lot of embellishments, although it does have that grid glowing kind of vector graphic feel.
Ooh, that's nice.
Like some of the games that we've seen recently come out from the guys who make what is that one that you like, John?
Utopia Must Fall.
Utopia Must Fall. There you go. It's that same kind of feel, like the old asteroids, phosphorescent kind of stuff. Anyway, this full release version of the game is head and shoulders above the demo. So if you like the demo even just a little bit, I highly suggest you go out and buy this full release. It's $20 at full price. It goes on sale, I'm sure, different times for usually around 10-20%. But it's on Steam. It is a blast to play in this new form. Yes, you're going to die. Matter of fact, the very first achievement you get is called Inevitable. You just die.
That's cool.
And I play it with the Xbox controller, and I know a lot of people will probably play it with keyboard. You've got multiple functionalities that way, like a good game on Steam should have. You have save points that you can come and go from, and I suggest that you use them as soon as you get to a place where you can save it. Save that shit, and then maybe take a 5-minute break if you're like me, who you can only play for so long before you get worn out. It's a solid game. They do have a they've got a publisher involved in this case. Let me see. Their name is Modern Wolf. So this is the first time Finite Reflections has worked with a publisher to put their game out there.
Yeah.
So probably broader release, I would expect, or maybe more visibility for them.
Thinking.
That's good.
I'm hoping they're doing well with it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work with Kartik on scheduling a live stream for our YouTube channel where he's able to join me and be there with us, because we love Kartik here at GenXGrownUp, and they've done such a great job. We've always worked well together. I guess we've known him now for at least 5 years or more.
It's been pre-pandemic, right?
So, pre-pandemic.
Oh, it had to be more than 5. Good point. Yeah.
It's a good system. It's a nice evolution of what that company produces. And if you want a game that you can pick up and get frustrated with and play for a few minutes and get killed, it's very much in that vein. It's a Souls game, no question. I really like it. It's really a lot of fun.
Well, cool.
Enough about that, though. Let's move on to what is probably the main topic of the game segment this week. John happened to go to Midwest Gaming Convention. You're welcome, sir, for me getting you out there. And while you were there, you got to play on what is arguably the resurgence of Atari in the arcade.
Yeah. So we've talked with our friends at Allen One before, which great name, comes from Tron, inspired by that. In fact, on their website, they have their core tenets, and one of their core tenets is fight for the users, which I think is very appropriate and lovely for them. So one of the things they're doing, now they were already making arcade machines. They do a lot of different stuff, but arcade machines is one of their primary focuses. They have a great one called Avian Knights that is similar to, but legally distinguishable from Joust. Big, a multiplayer flying around, on birds kind of thing. But since they're working with Atari, what they ended up starting to do is take the recharged versions of the classics that we've seen on home consoles and stuff already.
Yeah.
And use those to evolve. Look, the Recharge games came from Asteroids and Missile Command and games that were in the arcade. And they said, hey, well, they're in the arcade. Then we brought them home. And then we have a Recharge version at home. Let's take that and put it back in the arcade. And one criticism I've heard people say is like, well, why would I go to the arcade and pay $1 or whatever it is to play it in the arcade if I have it at home already in my library? Because you can play Asteroids Recharged at home now, certainly.
Sure.
And I probably in the back of my head had that similar question, like what's the difference? Why would I go in the arcade and play it? Well, first of all, it's not the exact same game. There are smart evolutions to the way that the game is represented to you and the way it plays. Like the original, it has multiplayer at the same time, so you can both be flying around, shooting down the rocks. The arcade cabinet restores the original Asteroids control scheme, by which I mean a button for rotate left, a button for rotate right, thrust, fire, hyperspace, 5 buttons. Yep, the way it's supposed to be. You have these power-ups, and when you pick up the power-ups, if you get the power-up, both you and your friend get the power-up. Some of them, based on what they are, like slow down the world, things like that. You can both benefit from the power-ups. And while you're fighting for score, you are working together to survive and progress. And there are these bonus levels, like remember, like in Joust, there's like survive a level without dying or go a level without hurting your friend, those kinds of things. And there is one, you have to find it at a local arcade to try it. And I found one local to me here. There's an arcade in town called Leaderboard, about 10, 15 minutes from me. And I played it a few times there. And I can only get around 10,000 points or so. It was frustrating, but I'm like, I'll come back and play some more. So at the Midwest Gaming Classic, it was there on free play, along with their next title, Missile Command, which is coming. And so every 20 minutes or so, I go, I got to work on it some more. Well, I had an extra benefit of my friend Brad, who works at Allen One, was there also. And he is like a huge high score guy on Asteroids. And so he would go, you know what you should do? He had tips for me and ideas and suggestions.
That's like old days, you know?
There's a depth to this arcade version of Asteroids Recharged that you don't see at the surface. And it all relies upon the ability to log into their Major League Esports, this MLES app. You walk up to the machine, you scan a QR code, it goes, think. Welcome back, John. We know where you got so far. We know the highest score you've been to. Ultimately, there's 256 levels to make it through over time, but you have to do it in one sitting. When you come to the machine a day or a week, a month later, it says, do you want to start from the beginning? Do you want to continue from where you left off? If you do, a la Tempest, you're like, well, if you finish this level, you get a bonus of points as if you made it this far, and then you can build on it.
Interesting.
It's just, there's so much more to it. And the most important thing about it is people that say, why would I go play it in the arcade when I have it at home, are people that have allowed themselves to forget the magic of the arcade. The reason it's fun, the chase of the high score. I get text messages that says, ding, someone beat your high score. Time to go get it back. I'm like, damn it, I got to drive across town. You know, it's that feeling of getting the high score, but it persists across the world. You can play it here today. You can find one in, out in California and play it and continue where you left off. It's a continuous thing no matter where you play it. And they're evolving this thing consistently. It's a really great way to play these games, but also relive the feeling we had of the arcades, but in the modern era, utilizing modern internet technology. I just had such a nice time with it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, especially like the fact that he came up there and gave you tips as you were playing.
Yeah.
That's like old school stuff.
Very nice. Yeah.
I was looking at one. It looks gorgeous. I mean, just the view screen, the whole thing. Can you do 3 players at once?
They do have a 3-player variety of the cabinet. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I saw one with 3 players. I was like, wow, 3-player
on the screen simultaneously, all playing together. Yeah.
Wow.
You
that
definitely
would be pretty
can.
Cool. Holy cow.
Yep.
You know how much these go for by any chance? Just curious.
I do. They sold several at the Midwest Gaming Classic.
Nice.
In fact, they sold all 3 of the ones that were sitting on the floor. People, I want to take that one home.
Wow.
They go for about $5,000 to $6,000 for the 2-player one.
That sounds about right.
And I think it's about a 40% bump if you want to get the 3-player one, because it's much bigger, much taller, much wider. Yeah. And they're designed to be in family fun centers and Dave & Buster's and things like that, places where people are going to scan their card and play and play and play. And I learned that my local arcade has a play all day for $25. And I'm like, oh, do you now?
I'm going to bring lunch with me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would recommend, look, if you have a local arcade where this might be, go see if it's there. If it's not, ask the proprietor of the place, are you aware of these? If they're not, send them to our videos. We can show you what they look like and how cool they are, and tell them you want to play these games. Alan One wants to get them out there in the wild. They have incentives and subsidies for certain arcades based on, where that you are in the world. And eventually they're going to have a feature in the app to locate a machine. Where's the nearest one to me on a map so you can go find it. That'll be a really cool feature too. So,
that's nice.
The dream, though, is we're hoping that Alan One is going to come to the Southern Fried Gaming Expo this year. I hope they bring a 3-player, and I want all 3 of us play.
Oh, absolutely. Better.
How cool would that be?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
We all scan it with our phone, log in with our credentials, and play together. And I can imagine, all right, well, it's been about a couple hours. Let's go back and work on our high score again. Let's go back, because it really is that kind of evolving thing.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, stick around. We'll be right back.
Campfire season's back, and that means s'mores. But when you're at home treating yourself, take them over ice with Dunkin's S'mores Cold Brew Concentrate. And suddenly you're always treating yourself. The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be. Click or tap the banner to shop now.
Waiting for the best deals? Spring Black Friday savings are here. Shop early access now at Blinds.com and save big on new custom window treatments. Blinds.com makes upgrading your window treatments easy with free virtual consultations, free samples sent to your door, and professional measure and installation services. Plus, you always get Blinds.com's 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com's Spring Black Friday early access now. Save up to 40% with minimum purchase, plus a free measure. Rules and restrictions may apply.
If you're a die-hard Gen X grown-up, you can pledge your support by clicking join on YouTube or by becoming a patron at GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon.
Smelly, rotten mildew stains? Try 1, 2, 3 sprays of Tilex against 1 spray of X14. In minutes, the X14 side is dramatically cleaner without scrubbing. X14, it's better.
I'm dead tired. So why am I wide awake?
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
Nitol helps you feel drowsy so you can get your Z's.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
As we come into the last segment of the show, we'd always like to take a second here to talk about the things we're looking at now or looking forward to between now and the next time we get together. And Mo, I would like to talk to you first. What do you have on the horizon?
Let's see. Actually, it's funny. All three are movies, and they all come out the same day. So I guess I'm not sure what I'll be doing that day.
Busy day for you. I want to be.
But one is The Accountant 2. Have you seen The Accountant? I thought it was a solid movie.
Oh, yeah. Ben Affleck.
I thought it was entertaining. So the second one, I'm like, I don't know if it needed a sequel, but I'll go see it.
Okay.
The other one is Until Dawn, which I guess is based on a PlayStation video game where a bunch of young people get trapped in a house.
Right. I saw that trailer.
And they die and keep coming back. So I wonder if that's like if they're trying to mimic like the replay of the game kind of thing where, you die, you respawn kind of thing. I don't know, but it looks kind of interesting. It's kind of horror slasher movie. So I'm okay with that. What I'm really looking forward to though is Cheech and Chong's last movie. And that is the title of the movie, by the way. It's half documentary, half comedy. It's like they actually mixed it up. So they talk about how they met, their early career, their early acts. They show clips of it. In the middle of them going on some sort of road trip. I'm guessing just on the trailer. I'm not sure. But you see them both in the car. The part that was just cracked me up that I have to see it. He's like, you got any weed? He's like, I got some gummies. I'm like, that to me, I'm like, yeah, that's, getting our
times
age.
have changed.
That sounds about what things would change. One, I mean, as a kid watching those movies, those are always like the movies that your parents didn't want you to see.
Right. But they were damn funny.
Yeah.
You snuck them
understand. They were silly as hell. They were just kind of dumb in some ways, but you watch every single one multiple times. And so seeing them now, like kind of getting back together, because I guess they had a falling out or something and they got back together and they're friends now, but just seeing the two of them together, I think is just going to be just a great experience. I'm really looking forward to it. So how about you, John? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah. Ironically, the first item on my list was the Cheech and Chong movie. It was just a great mix up of their history and their friendship and that kind of thing. And another kind of a story they're going on. Awesome. The next thing is April 17th, another Atari game, I, Robot. Now, this is based on the arcade game that not a lot of people know super well, but they let Jeff Minter take a stab at a reimagining of this. And I was able to play an early preview at the Midwest Gaming Classic at the Atari booth. It is a psychedelic trip, let me tell you.
Really?
You could take a trip and never leave the farm with this game. It is really bananas looking. And it's crazy, but fun, but understandable, but just a treat for the eyes and senses. And then the thing I'm most looking forward to, this is pretty far out on the horizon, but I want to start talking about it now because every year we get excited about it. And that is the Southern Fried Gaming Expo.
Yeah.
It's June 20th through the 22nd in Atlanta. We were just talking about it. We met the guys at Fine Art Reflection there. We talked about, going to hopefully Alan 1 is coming. For us, it's the convention we go to as a respite, as a recharge, as a have a good time. We'll have a panel or two or something as well. But if you would like to go, we'll all be there. And to get your tickets, if you go to the website, which is gameatl.com, use the promo code GenXGrownUp. You get $5 off your admission. We do that every year. In fact, they told us a couple of years ago that our coupon code is one of the most used ones that they had. I'm like, wow, our listeners are paying attention. That's great. So we'd love to see you there. Get a chance to meet you if we haven't. Spend some time. We'll play some games, have a good time, cut up. It's a tremendous time. I'm sure we'll talk about it again between now and then, but I wanted to make sure it was on our radar in that case. George, how about you? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, first up, one that kind of came out of nowhere. I found it on releases.com, but it's called Sherlock and Daughter. So this is a Sherlock Holmes story, but this time with his daughter as a sidekick. Stars David Thewlis. He was in the Harry Potter films. He was the professor that turned into a werewolf. I think he was a Doctor Who guy maybe at some point. But this is going to be out on the CW starting on April 16th. So looks like it could be a fun little Sherlock. And, I don't get enough Sherlock, honestly, and we haven't had a good series in a few years, so might as well have one now.
Sure.
After that, of course, the Alice Goes to Wonderland pinball machine. We did get another video from them kind of showing us where they're at in their progress because they had a disastrous showing at a convention a little while back where their DMD, the little small screen underneath the big back panel, stopped working because it got damaged in transit and they couldn't get it fixed at the show. But gameplay looks fun. You can see they're in the early stages of code development, but it's all running behind the scenes really well. So can't wait for my machine to hopefully arrive sometime around Q4 this year. And then just to have a thing to look forward to the most in this list, I noticed that Andor got a second season over on Disney Plus, and it's coming out on April 22nd. So I'm like, okay. I was a bit miffed at the whole we're not going to show subtitle bullshit that they did in that series at the beginning. But when I went back to watch the entire series, it was still a good series. I still enjoyed it. It wasn't great. Don't get me wrong. You can tell they're kind of running the gambit on what stories they can tell in that universe. Maybe as much as Marvel is. They're getting a little worn thin. But still, Andor was fun, and I'm looking forward to watching season 2.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Now, I want to talk about welcoming a new patron to our support family. Before I do, though, one of the benefits when you are a patron is getting a chance to ask us a question right here on the show that we'll all answer. So I want to throw it over to you, Mo. Do you have a new question from one of our supporters that we can answer?
Absolutely. This question is from Jay, and this is a pretty interesting question, I thought. He said, as a Gen Xer, we have seen a huge amount of technology changes in our lives, which, we absolutely have.
Oh, yeah.
But has there been a technology that you just didn't bother with or you didn't think was necessary or needed?
Yeah. I'll happily start.
Yeah, please.
I'll happily start. Yeah, it's really easy. And frankly, I'm glad that I ignored it because it came and went and I never touched it. And that was Blu-ray.
That's funny. That was one of mine.
Look, I had VHS and then I went to DVD and then I almost was dabbling with HD DVD because there was a plug-in for your Xbox that had HD DVD, but I never bought a single disc. And then they're like, oh, now that's going to die. Even if you liked that one, Blu-ray is the new thing. And I'm like, I'm sick of it. I'm not going to do it. And I always kind of figured, well, I'm going to have to buckle and start buying Blu-rays eventually because the DVD will phase out. It's going to be like the floppy disk. It's going to go out. Fortunately, what happened is while I was sleeping on Blu-ray, digital streaming happened. And so now it doesn't matter anymore. You can get 4K streaming. So that's one where I feel I'm fully vindicated in flipping my middle finger at Blu-ray and ignoring and resisting buying it. Was it necessary? Well, yeah, DVD was not high definition. It was just SD. It was crystal clear SD, but it was SD. And when I was watching it on a CRT TV, it didn't matter because you had a little grainy anyway. Yeah. I understand when you went to, flat screens and everything is crystal clear, those didn't look good. Fortunately, by the time it mattered for me, I was on to streaming and it went away. So I think I own one Blu-ray disc. It's the original Wreck-It Ralph, and it's because it had a bonus disc of stuff you could only get there. And I've never watched it because I don't have a Blu-ray player. I have no idea what's on it. So that was mine, is Blu-ray. Who wants to go?
That's cool.
Thanks, Jay. Good question.
Yeah. How about you, George? You have one?
Yeah. Because of the way that Jay asked the question, I have one that I can use. Said didn't think was needed was part of his question.
Yes,
so I have not been vindicated in my belief because this thing is the most prevalent piece of technology we've seen in our lifetime, I think, at this point, next to the internet, and that's smartphones. But I will still stand by my original thought when smartphones were first becoming a thing, and that's that they are the second most evil technology invented to humankind after the television. And I mean that like half as a joke, but also half seriously, because I think television was the greatest crowd control device ever invented.
Probably.
It is the reason why we don't have a lot of the issues in this country, I feel, socially, that a lot of other countries do. Like, my wife's from the Philippines, and about every 6 or 7 years over in that country, because not everybody has a television, or at least at that point, they just drag those politician corrupt motherfuckers out in the street and hang them. That was it. There was no getting around it because they didn't have shit to do, and they were fed up with what was being done to them. So they just said, "Nope, fuck you, Imelda Marcos, or whatever. You're gone." Well, I think phones in particular have really subverted the human condition to a very negative degree. Kids are getting them way too early, in my opinion. They're interfering with their development. I think that we are not only tethered to them just because of our own neuroses, but I think more importantly, our places of work are demanding that we are connected to them 24/7 because of these devices. So much so that at least places of work that I know of, I can't speak too much on this because I don't want to get fired, but they even pay for my cell phone connection.
That's how to get
you. So that I can be available.
Because they want to be, they want you 24/7.
Yeah. So I feel like that cell phones are a technology that has changed our life that we absolutely should not have bothered with, and I wished it hadn't happened.
I definitely see your point for sure. So my technology I thought of, well, first I was thinking Blu-ray because I also skipped the whole Blu-ray thing.
Oh, did you?
But,
okay.
Oh, yeah. But the thing I also sort of skipped for the most part was 3D television.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that whole thing? That was a big
That was the next
point.
big thing.
Yeah. Everyone's going to buy a 3D TV and you have to have special glasses that sync to your TV to watch it. So only 2 people in your whole household could see 3D when you were watching it. And it was not very good 3D on top of that. Like, it was just, you had to be in the right position. It was like another, like, here's how we're going to sell our TV from everybody else's HD TVs. At the time, everyone was selling HD TVs. They were going for a huge amount of money at the time. Like, they were still super expensive. And so they were like, oh, ours does 3D. I wound up buying a TV that had it just because you couldn't not get it. Like, if you got a TV a certain size and quality, is going to have it. I tried it once and I was like, this is just stupid. Like the glasses had to be it was just a stupid idea. No 2 people had the same format, so you couldn't even necessarily all watch the same type of 3D movies.
Right.
It was a terrible idea.
There was interlaced. There was side by side, different kinds of 3D. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
It was, to me, it should have been just. It should have went the way of smell-o-vision and just not.
And
bother.
it did.
It did actually.
Pretty much where it
went
is.
Away really fast, didn't it?
Yep.
So that was mine. Again, great question there, Jay. Heard a lot of great answers. And if you guys want to join in the conversation, you can join us on Discord. GenXGrownUp.com/Discord. We'd be happy to hear what you think of this as well. Yep. But again, it's super easy to join. As little as $1 a month, just to show that you support, love what we do, and we'll answer your question right here on our show.
And as evidence, we have another new patron that I want to thank. Brand new, joined us, headed over to GenXGrownUp.com/Patreon. Opened up his wallet and his heart, set up a regular monthly pledge. The user is Mug, M-U-G, Mug. Now, I have a little context.
You have to say it just like that.
Heck, Mug. His email contains the words original mug. So he's the OG mug, apparently. But Mug, we thank you for your generosity and for supporting us.
That's awesome.
It's wonderful to know that folks know that we do this and give it away for free, but to make sure it continues to happen, they're willing to open up their hearts and support us there. You're joining a roster of amazing people that continue to support us for years now and really keep us on the air, keep us on YouTube, keep things cooking. So Mug, thank you. Thank you so much. And listener, if you've been thinking about it, it's a perfect time to join. We'd love to have you on board. That is going to wrap it up for this edition of the Gen X Grown Up podcast. Don't worry, though. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another one. Next week, though, is our backtrack. That's where we pick a single nostalgic topic and dig in deep on it. Let's see. Mo, would you like to do the honors this week and let the fourth listener know what's coming up on the next backtrack?
Sure. Our next backtrack's going to be Thundercats. Yeah, I can't believe it's been, 40 years since Thundercats premiered? So we're going to look back on this show that really helped kind of revitalize and brought some good stuff back to Saturday morning cartoons again. So that's what we talk about, Thundercats.
Should be a good one. Hope you'll join us for that. Until then, I am John. George, thank you so much for being here, man.
Yes, sir.
Mo, I appreciate you.
Always fun, man.
Fourth listener, it's you we all appreciate most of all, though. We cannot wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Take care, everybody.
No life, no fun. Don't you know that you're a grown-up?
Gen X Grown Up is a member of the Evergreen Podcast family. Learn more at evergreenpodcasts.com.
No more washing shows till sunrise. Unacceptable for grown-ups. Your dinner cannot just be french fries. Basically, life sucks as a grown-up.
This conversation starter. What shows are you watching? Like to get people talking about themselves? Yeah. And Gary Kitchen? Oh, I'm loving Bosch. So I'm like, I don't watch a lot of it, but my buddy George watches the shit out of it.
Yep.